everyone. Dr. Eli Camp here. So glad that you could join us. And I'm really honored to have Dr. Ben Reebs here. He's an associate of the Naturopathic Medicine Institute, and he might look very familiar to many of you, and that's because over the last year, Dr. Reebs has been doing many interviews of our vitalists out there who are associated with the Institute, and it really dawned on us that I don't know very much about Dr. Reebs, and so we really wanted to sort of visit with him today and find out what's going on over there in Portland, Oregon. Dr. Reebs graduated from the National University of Natural Medicine. He has a clinic in Portland, Oregon called the Portland Clinic of Natural Health, and you can visit him online at modernvital.com. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, Dr. Reebs. And yeah, it's a nice time of year there for you guys, isn't it?
It is. It's been really beautiful. Thanks so much, Dr. Camp, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think people might be curious. I know I am curious about your journey in becoming a naturopathic doctor, and if you'd share that with us. And you know, I'm always curious why someone chooses naturopathic medicine over another field of study.
Yeah, you know, I think the main thing for me was that I saw a really close friend go through a journey of healing back about 10 or 12 years ago. And I didn't even know what naturopathic medicine was. And I asked my friend, I said, what happened to you? And she said, oh, my naturopath has changed my life. And I said, what's a naturopath? And at that time I was really searching for the right career for me. And I was really looking deeply into the healing arts and the medical field. And I was interviewing osteopaths and Chinese medicine doctors and Ayurvedic doctors and medical doctors, trying to figure out if I wanted to become some kind of doctor or if I just wanted to go into some school of healing. And
what made you end up choosing naturopathic medicine? I mean, what was it about it that attracted you to it specifically?
Well, I remember my friend, she was doing all these weird things. I thought they were weird. She was doing things called castor oil packs and taking tinctures and something called homeopathy and hydrotherapy. And she went from sitting on the couch, depressed and anemic and lethargic, to bouncing off the walls, pursuing her life dream. And she did this in about 9 or 10 months. And so I had to go meet her naturopath, and it was in San Francisco at the time. And so I went and spent about 2 hours with her naturopath, just interviewing her. And she happened to have attended a school called National University of Natural Medicine. And I was considering Portland, Oregon, and it just all fell into place. And I left that interview knowing probably what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Wow. I hear that often from people, right? It is that moment in time and you just know exactly what it is. So in your, you recently did a podcast with Dr. Tina Moore, and it was intriguing. You talked about 7 principles of vitalism, although you didn't necessarily call it that in the podcast. And I wondered if you'd be willing to share some of that with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, there's so much inspiration that I've been getting from just, working with and learning from all the folks at the Naturopathic Medicine Institute, Dr. Sensnig, yourself, Dr. Camp, Dr. Zeff, Dr. Tish, Dr. Workin. The list just goes on and on and on. And my life has been touched by dozens of people from this institute. And I basically, I just was like, well, there must be about 7 things, and I came up with a list of 7 things that I think together kind of, in a way, define the medicine. And I think that there are a couple of my favorite things that are in this list. And one of them is intention as a modality, which is all about bringing that intention to your patient, to your life, to the medicine you prescribe, and maybe saying a little prayer or a little, maybe saying some words of intention before a patient comes in to see me. And so I think that's really a thing that defines Vitalism in a way, or it's a differentiating feature of Vitalism. And then another one that I really love that comes directly from Dr. Sensennig is the lowest common denominator. And basically, we know this word from algebra, that, you've got like a couple of different numbers, and what's the number that, for example, you got the number 49 and the number 14, and the number 7 is going to be the lowest common denominator of those two numbers. And so that's how I approach each patient. They come in with maybe 5 or 6 problems or complaints, and I'm looking for what's the lowest common denominator. What is the 1 or 2 things that is going to explain this whole puzzle or this whole problem, or help this person to move in the direction of health. And then I'm going to bring that intention to it as well. And all of the latest science really validates intention as a modality. We know epigenetics really shows that we are what we eat, we are what we believe, we are what we think, we are what we do, we are what we ate. And so when I bring intention to a case or to a patient, it has a direct impact on the case. And I think it's doing that scientifically. We see this in quantum physics as well. We have a lot of the latest science is completely in line with this idea or modality or teaching.
Mm-hmm. It is, absolutely. So then you have someone come in, and like I'm sure so many of us out here practicing, we see people with some really complex symptom pictures, and they've been to so many different doctors and they've had so many tests. And how do you approach your patients? What do you do? I know you said common denominator, and I agree with you, right? Another way of saying that is the root cause. What is underneath all of this? But if someone comes to work with you, like, how does it go? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, it's, we're trained obviously to take a full case. And so I spend 90 minutes with each patient. Sometimes it goes to 2 hours, but I try to kind of keep it in that 90 minutes. And I'm looking at the whole person, looking at their whole picture, all the interstices of the different stories that are in their life. And of course, one can only get so much in 90 minutes. But there's this idea in quantum physics that, you've got an atom or a molecule, and it can be either a wave or it can be just a single atom or a single molecule. And I look at each patient more as a wave. Mm-hmm. And so if this person that's in front of me is a wave, then it's in motion, it's moving. And, I often think of like a stone that drops into a body of water and how it creates a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. And I think that when people have complaints, I see this in my patients all the time, there's certain underlying causes that caused a ripple effect in their life. And mm-hmm. And so I see their different symptoms as different points on this wave. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, what I do is really simple. It's everything we learn at the Naturopathic Medicine Institute. It's what we're supposed to learn in school. And basically, we're looking at minerals. We're looking at vitamins and nutrients. We're using water, the healing power of water in hydrotherapy. We're trying to boost the immune system. We're trying to stimulate the vital force, that Vis Medicatrix Naturae, to overcome, and it's always working to restore balance. And so basically I'm working with nature, not against nature. And so I basically the symptoms of the patient are reflecting an intelligent language that is telling us the compensatory mechanisms and the way that this person is balancing, and how they're establishing balance in spite of the obstacles.
Right.
And so, it's everything we're learning at NMI. And it really is the very roots of this medicine. It's in all of the teaching. So what I'm saying, there's nothing new under the sun, as Dr. Sensennig likes to say. Yeah.
True, true. But a lot of people out there they just might not even think past, I think sometimes there's a stereotype of naturopathic doctors that, if you go see a naturopathic doctor, they're going to make you change your diet. And right. And it's so much more than that. Not so much more as in more changes people have to make, but that's just a really small part of the bigger picture of how people can restore health. So, well, it's cold and flu season here in the Midwest. I don't know if it's cold and flu season out by you. No, it's definitely cold and flu season on the East Coast. So give us some words of wisdom of how you approach the cold and flu season with your patients.
Yeah, well, with each patient, it's going to be a little bit different. There's obviously a lot of tools in our toolbox, and some of the things I think of immediately are like selenium and zinc, and maybe OSHA root, or maybe a product like Bio-Vegetarian, which comes from Priority One, which contains some different adaptogenic herbs and some B vitamins, so it's just it's each person, though, it's going to be a little bit different, but generally, I'm going to want to help boost their immune system, and I'm going to want to help do it in a way that resonates with them. Instead of just saying, "Hey, take these 2 or 3 things," kind of figuring out again, like what is the 1 or 2 things we can do, and maybe having them do some hot and cold hydrotherapy. Just maybe finishing a hot steam with a 30-second cold shower. If their body can respond to that, and if they're not in a place where cold water really could send them deeper into the flu.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have a patient who every cold and flu season, there's a 5-day window when the weather starts to change, and she makes herself some really intensely nutritious soup, like a broth-based soup. And I can remember one year she called me up and she said, "I missed my soup window and now I'm going to be sick all year." And she was convinced. So I just had her, I said, "You know what? It's never too late to do a really dense, nutritious broth soup." And she wasn't sick all winter, but she was pretty sure she was going to be sick all winter.
Wow.
She forgot her soup, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Every patient's going to have a slightly different approach, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all, which is why naturopathic doctors are so incredibly important, I think, to have on your healthcare team, because we get that.
It's so true, and almost every patient's going to get a homeopathic from me. It's and maybe it'll match the pattern of their cold or their flu, or maybe it'll just be matching who they seem to be presenting as in the office. And It's amazing. Just right before my own eyes, I kind of learned this from Dr. Zeff. He always gives, he gives it right in the office in the middle of the patient encounter. And it's amazing how sometimes things just change right before one's own eyes. One thing I really love that Dr. Zeff does a lot is homeopathic thyroidinum, which is, made from thyroid. And sometimes if a patient has a little bit of a thyroid picture, just a little bit of that can kind of bump their energy levels just right in the office. And it's amazing. So.
It's almost magical to watch it. I mean, it's not magic, right? But
no.
It's very scientific, but it looks magical to our fallible human eyes. Well, so I know you're busy and you have patients waiting. How about some words of wisdom for, especially this time of year, people who are out there and they're suffering from symptoms of chronic illness and they don't know which way to turn? How about a message of hope for them?
Wow, that's a great question. And in my mind, I mean, obviously there's so many things we could do, but I really see a lot of power in just a simple mineral supplement. And I know Dr. Sensitic talks a lot about this, and we love this in naturopathic medicine, but I'm amazed at how sometimes I just give my patient who has maybe a chronic disease of some kind, just to start, I put them on a good bioavailable trace mineral product. And they come back a couple weeks later and they're in a different place and they can't believe it. I actually just had that this week. and happened to me. And I was surprised, even though it keeps happening. But I think, it's like, I'm like, all I did was give them a mineral supplement. And
right.
Their energy went from a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. And that's all that that's the only change they had made in their life. So if somebody, I think that cannot be underestimated. And
right.
There are many products out there that are good from a lot of our favorite companies, but just taking that each day. I mean, I do it myself, and it makes a difference in my life.
Well, what I heard you say, aside from the fact that minerals are great, and I agree with you, because every chemical reaction in our body depends on what's in the trace minerals. What I heard you say, or didn't say, but I heard it loud and clear, was that there's hope, right? It doesn't matter what symptom picture you have, or how long you've been struggling with it, or how many doctors you've seen. There's always hope, because your body wants to be well. And if you're working with someone who knows how to remove the obstacles and stimulate the body to be well, that you can be well. You can shed, what's it called when you've got a really strong or heavy wood, a yoke. But you can shed the yoke of chronic illness and see what your life has the potential to be. That's what I heard you say, is that 2 weeks later, they come back and their energy's up in 2 weeks. They've probably had that energy issue for who knows how long, right? That's the magic for me of naturopathic medicine. And I can tell it is for you too.
It really is. And just that extra energy can maybe give enough to take another step forward. And I think that this kind of what you just said, it also plays into really educating my patients that whatever chronic disease they're having is an intelligent way that their body is actually trying to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And so, communicating to them the hope that, hey, what's going on here, it may suck, or it may really hurt right now. Right. And we have to monitor this and, make sure that things don't get worse, but the body's actually working with you. And if we can coax or encourage that direction a little bit and maybe make a couple of corrections, mm-hmm. It's amazing how much different the person can feel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And just a personal sort of note for me, I am so honored and thrilled that you are one of the associates of the Institute, and I know in the years to come, you're going to be an incredibly valuable teacher for our young doctors who are coming up. And, I'm watching your journey, and I'm amazed when you practice naturopathic medicine in the way that you're practicing how it was meant to be practiced, it just all works. All the pieces fit together, and the momentum is there, right? It's like you're going downriver, not upriver.
It's so true. I just feel so much gratitude for the NMI and all the teachers in this group, because as people probably know, I'm a brand new doctor. I've been practicing I opened my clinic about 8 months ago, and I have about 50 patients, and I'm seeing them get better, and I'm applying what I've been learning, and I'm seeing it work right before my own eyes. And so it's a lot of work, and at the same time, it's so rewarding to get this feedback and to be able to just put into practice exactly what Dr. Sensenig, Dr. Zeff, Dr. Tish, Dr. Workin, Dr. Cruzel are showing us, and all the other elders and amazing doctors in our profession.
Right. There's my does it ever stop ringing phone in the background. Sorry about that. Listen, thank you so much for the time today, and I wish you the best of luck. And from what I understand, Dr. Reebs is going to be back again after the first of the year talking to more vitalists of the Naturopathic Medicine Institute. We're in the process now of getting everybody their credentials awarded. So exciting. Our community is just amazing. And we're going to be listing everybody in the Naturopathic Medicine Institute directory. So if you go over to the naturopathicmedicineinstitute.org, There'll be a big button there that says find an ND, and everybody in there is practicing vitalistic naturopathic medicine. And again, you can find Dr. Reebs over at modernvital.com at the Portland Clinic of Natural Health. And thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day and happy healing with your patients.
Thanks so much, Dr. Camp.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.